What's going on, guys? It's Hank from Sprues and Brews, and today we're going to be taking a special look at how I package my finished models for shipping in the mail. For anybody that's tried to do this before, you know how nerve-wracking it can be to spend hours and hours working on a model, putting it in a box, bringing it to the post office, and just hoping that it gets to its destination in one piece. I'm going to show you my method for packing models. It's worked out super well for me so far. I send a lot of commission pieces all around the country, and we haven't had any issues yet. Even if you're not shipping something in the mail, if you're moving, this can be a great way to package your kits to make sure they get to your new home safely and you don't break anything along the way. Also important to note, in this video, I'm packaging a 172 scale aircraft model, but you can literally do this with any kit. I've done this with 135 scale tanks, 148 scale aircraft, whatever works. Just accommodate the shapes and sizes of the materials I'm using here, get a bigger box, whatever you need to do, and this will work out perfectly for those as well. So the first thing we're gonna need, obviously, is a box. You're gonna wanna pick something that's sturdy, a nice rugged cardboard, and is big enough that you can fit your model in it with room to spare. You don't want any pieces of your kit actually touching the sides of the box. We'll need some packing tape, a good pair of scissors, some zip ties. I'm using the 6-inch zip ties, but you can use 6-inch, 8-inch, really whatever you have. Just have a bunch of these handy because we'll need, for an aircraft, we're gonna need at least 4, but depending on the size of your model, you might need more. Big black Sharpie, some packing paper, tissue paper. This is just something I had left over from a package that I got from Amazon or wherever. We'll need some EVA foam. Now it's kind of like neoprene. This is like wetsuit stuff. It's squishy. You can find it at a lot of craft stores or online. A lot of people use this for cosplay, making costumes and stuff. It's a good squishy material and it works really well for protecting kits without affecting the paint job or anything. So we're gonna need a little bit of this. And we'll need a whole bunch of this. This is a big sheet of EPS or expanded polystyrene foam. It's just styrofoam. It's the stuff you get whenever you get a package, really. So this is a big chunk we had from a piece of furniture we had delivered, but if you have a big one, that'll work fine, or you can piece together a bunch of smaller ones. We'll need to cut at least 4 sections out of this that are gonna fit into our box. And lastly, you're gonna need to clean up at the end because this is gonna make a huge mess. So I have my little RoboVac friend here, and he is gonna keep us nice and clean. And obviously, you're gonna need a model. So whatever you're shipping, we'll need that too. All right, with all that said, let's check it out. All right, guys, so first things first, you're gonna need a box. Make sure it's one that fits your model with some room to spare. I'm using a 12 by 8 by 8 because that worked for what I'm shipping, but obviously be flexible depending on the size of your model. Here, I'm using a big sheet of styrofoam that I had left over from something we ordered for the house. And I'm gonna use a black Sharpie to trace the general shape of my box to make some inserts for protecting our model. We're gonna use a pair of scissors here and just cut these out. And as you'll notice with this project, this is gonna make quite a mess, so just be ready to clean up at the end. The goal here is to have these foam pieces be as tight of a fit as possible. So we're gonna slide that first one down in there. I'm shipping this particular kit with a base, so I'm gonna put that in first on top of that first piece of styrofoam, and I'm gonna brace it with some leftover pieces that I have kicking around to make sure it doesn't slide around in the bottom of the box. On our second piece of foam, we're gonna use a black Sharpie to mark out the general shape of the model that we wanna ship. We're gonna use this skeleton reference guide later as we start to chisel out the shape to really fit the plane in there so it's secure during shipping. Make sure to mark where your prop is gonna sit because we're gonna need to make space for that as well. All right, here's the real messy part. I'm using just a regular old kitchen spoon here, and I'm using the back side of it to scrape away a channel for our model to fit. Follow that skeleton that you drew earlier and just kind of create a trough that you can rest your plane in. Make sure you do test fits along the way. I had to do this a couple times to make sure I got the best fit possible. You can see here my plane is still tilting a little bit, so I'm gonna go slightly deeper with that channel. You can see here the fit is much better. I'm comfortable with this. The plane is nested nicely in the foam there. So now we can move on to the bracing. So on the top and bottom of each wing space that you created in your foam, we're just gonna use a pencil here and poke a hole through the styrofoam. Next, we're gonna take our zip ties. We're gonna need 2 of these for each wing, and you're gonna feed it from the top of the foam through the bottom and up the other hole. So the back end of the zip tie is gonna start in front of your wing, the front end is gonna feed through the back of the wing, and then we're gonna use a second zip tie here to connect those 2 on the top. This is going to create a continuous circle with the zip ties, and both of your tightening elements are on the upper surface of the foam here. Now we're going to slide our aircraft model into these zip ties, and we're going to nest it back in its channel. Here I've cut a couple strips of neoprene foam. This is a lot squishier than the styrofoam we've been using for the base, and it's going to help protect our paint job on the model from rubbing on our zip ties here. So I'm going to slide those underneath the areas where the zip tie would come in contact with the plane, and I'm going to tighten those zip ties up so my aircraft can't fall out. Don't over tighten, you just want to do it enough that the airplane is not going to move around. You can see here I can flip it over with confidence. We're not getting any wiggle or any shake in our plane. It's secured nicely to that piece of foam. Once you've got those zip ties tightened enough, you can cut off the extra ends. And here is our model nicely secured to its piece of foam. This is our third piece of foam here. This is going to serve as top protection for the model. So right now I'm taking the Sharpie and kind of outlining the general spine of the aircraft. We're going to carve a channel all the way through this piece of foam, and this is going to serve as protection for our aerial antenna and the antenna masts. All right, so now we're gonna push our aircraft down to the bottom of the package, and we are gonna slide this new piece of foam that we just cut right down over the antenna and the radio masts, so they're nested nicely in that opening we've created. We're also gonna use a 4th piece of foam. This is gonna act as a roof of sorts, and it's gonna protect everything we just put in there. Lastly, we're going to use some packing paper and fill the void at the top of the box. We don't want any extra room in here for things to slide around, so once we seal the box shut, this is going to prevent our parts from rattling around and keep all those foam pieces right where we want them. Working with the styrofoam creates quite a mess, so be nice to the people you live with and make sure you clean up at the end. I'm getting a little help here from my friend. I throw in a little thank you note with all my commission builds, and that is how I pack my models for mailing. So thanks for watching. Until next time, be well, happy building, cheers.